Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Play Your Faves, the show where I take your favorite characters from comics, video games, or movies, and I turn them into D&D character sheets that you can literally just start playing. So, this week, or this episode, I'm going to be doing another one requested by a fan. This one is going to be Starkiller, the protagonist from the Force Unleashed games, which were awesome. They were super fun to play. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, I made Starkiller a fighter because he is a very powerful Jedi, but his main thing is he is very skilled with his lightsaber and then mixes in force powers to augment his martial prowess. So fighter just made the most sense. We'll get into these subclass in a little bit. But that's what made the most sense. And he is human, so I made him a human in this as well. For background, I took the criminal backgrounds, specifically you can pick a type of criminal that you are, and he would specifically be an assassin because that's literally what he is in the game. And then his alignment technically is a little different. You could make the argument that he's actually lawful neutral because he has an almost unwavering loyalty to Vader, and so. Due to the fact that he follows a very strict code of do whatever Vader tells me, you could make that argument. But I kind of see it more towards he has a personal goal, but he doesn't really follow the rule of law at all. And he actually ends up sticking with his morals, spoiler alert, over his master by the end of the game. And then does it again in the second game. So quick personality traits. This is just stuff. Most of the stuff is just stuff that I kind of made up about him. I looked for some quotes, but I didn't really find any for him that I liked. So just things like he is very much in tune with his emotions. You know, it's Sith are very much anger. They use their anger for power. And he's very much, just jump into the fray. He doesn't plan a lot. For ideals, a lot of people are familiar with the Jedi Code, at least the phrase Jedi Code. But there's actually a Sith Code, and that's actually what I have here. Is the Sith Code, which is peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall free me. And that really sums up the Sith ideal. They're fueled by their passion. They feel that, by using passion and strength, they can overcome everything to get the freedom that they want. And the other things I owe my master. Everything. He's really into Vader. And then his flaws, even when Vader betrays him, he was running right back to him because Vader is literally the only person in the galaxy he actually trusts. So let's go over to stats. There was a couple different ways to do this, and if I wasn't limited by a couple other things, I probably would have made him dex based versus strength, just because he is very agile. There's a lot of jumping in that, but due to the kind of limitations of 5e and the things I wanted to do, strength just made more sense. And he is very strong. He doesn't look like it. He looks kind of thin, but the force gives him so much extra strength. So strength is his highest stat. We put Dex as his 10 just because he's not going to be using his dexterity for much. He's going to be just using strength. Constitution, he should be able to take a hit. Intelligence is his second highest because he's an Eldritch Knight, as you can see over here. And that's where his force powers come from, is the Eldritch Knight aspect. So he needed a decent intelligence score in order to be able to do that. Then wisdom, he does have some street smarts. And then charisma, he's just not very good with dealing with people. And so I thought a low charisma made sense for that. We go here. He only has one weapon, which is his lightsaber. And I'll explain where this came from, but the lightsaber itself is actually a hand axe, and there are very specific reasons why, because I need to emulate a couple of his force powers. So, and then chainmail is just what he would wear as a first level fighter. So one of the first things you choose as a fighter is your fighting style, and because in the first game he only uses one lightsaber, I gave him the dueling fighting style, which basically means when he's not using a second weapon or a two-handed weapon, he gets extra damage. That's where that +6 comes from instead of the +4 it should be. He gets extra damage because of dueling. Second wind is just a way to heal himself. It's fighter. Action surge and extra attack actually fit into the character because he's massively quick, and he can get these bursts of power. In the game, you got them through holocrons and things like that. In D&D, you'll get them through action surge and extra attack. And then obviously we went with Eldritch Knight to get some magic to give him force powers. And this is where the hand axe comes in. So in the game, you actually have, I believe it's 5 force powers. You have force push, force choke, I think it is, or grabs, something along there. You have lightning, force explosion, or something similar to that, and then lightsaber throw. That's the one I wanted to talk about. And so with weapon bond lets you you bond with a weapon. In this case, it's his lightsaber, and it lets you call that weapon to your hand as a bonus action. So with that, a hand axe is a thrown weapon. So when you combine those, he can actually throw his lightsaber and call it back in the same turn. Doesn't have to go and pick it up or anything. He can do that once per turn. So that's how we get the lightsaber throw. And the rest of his powers we will get through spells. So we go down. I didn't put his background or anything in just because I wanted to get this out. But here's where we get the rest of his force powers. The first one I want to talk about is actually Mage Hand. Mage Hand is your just general force powers thing. You can use it to pick stuff up, bring it to you, put it back down. It's just, that's the telekinesis that you see Jedi using all the time. Thunderclap is actually his force. I think it's called repulsion. It's his force explosion power. And so Thunderclap is a cantrip that anyone within 5 feet gets hit by thunder energy. So it's actually very similar to his force repulsion or whatever it is. Catapult, I'm actually really happy I found it. What Catapult does is you actually choose an object. weighing 1 to 5 pounds within range that isn't being worn or carried. And the object flies in a straight line up to 90 feet in a direction you choose before falling to the ground, stopping early if it impacts against a solid surface. They can make a dex save. It does 3d8 bludgeoning damage. So this literally is him using the force to pick something up and throw it at someone, which is something you do constantly in the game. Is you'll use your force grab to pick up items and throw them at enemies, or even pick up enemies and throw them at other enemies, which you can't do with catapult, but whatever. It's still a really good representation of that force power. Thunder Wave is his force push ability. Force push is the first force power you unlock in the game, and it's super useful. Use it to blow down doors, you throw away enemies with it, you can charge it, and Thunder Wave, very similar. You knock away enemies, blow open doors by casting it at higher levels. You can charge it, so very much there. And then finally, his lightning powers. He shoots people with lightning. Witch Bolt is perfect for that. That you shoot a bolt of lightning at someone, and then as long as you concentrate, you can keep it going. One of the strategies you can use in the game is actually just fighting enemies, waiting until your force is totally recharged, and then just burning them down with force lightning. And if you upgrade enough, you can take out some pretty powerful bosses with that. So yeah, this actually was not an incredibly complex build. I don't think that's right. That should be a 6. And I think it should be a 14. So I had to change those to fit with the rest of the stuff. And then supposed to have a feat in here too from him being a human. That's the thing with this is I actually didn't need to use any feats. Now I have to remember which feat I used. Like I said, I wanted to get this out pretty quick, and I kind of went too fast. Well, with the human variant that I used here, you do get a feat, and I would probably say with him I would give him, I think it's called movement. Give me a second. I'll mobile. There we go. So I'm just gonna real quick add that in because I completely forgot about it. And all that does is it gives him extra movement, so he goes up to 40 feet. And anytime he attacks an enemy, even if he doesn't hit, they can't take opportunity attacks against him, which actually fits really well with the character himself. Because in the game, you are dashing between enemies and jumping out of the way, and you're very, very mobile. And so that feat makes a lot of sense. So that's it. Like I said, this is a relatively simple build, and it emulates literally just about every power he gets in the entire game. Obviously, as you get higher, picking up lightning bolt for a level 3 spell would give you a little more powerful force lightning, stuff like that, or getting the shield spell. Sorry about that. Getting the shield spell would give him, a little more protection, like the forces stopping bolts or things like that. Or even getting him arrows of I think arrows or gloves of arrow snatching would let him not technically deflect bolts, but it would let him be able to catch bolts and things like that, which would kind of fit with him. But yeah, other than that, that's him for the most part. Now, they did just announce brand new rules for Season 9 of the Adventure League. You basically have to build a brand new character every season now. So these builds are actually going to be a little bit more useful. This one, the +1 for the Adventure League, is actually the Elemental Evil Player's Companion, which is 100% free. You can download it from Wizards. So this literally all you need is the player's handbook in order to be able to play this character. And yeah, with Adventure League, you just start them level 1 as a fighter, and go to town with him. And yeah, I mean, that's it. So in the comments below, let me know first if you have a different idea of how you would have built Starkiller. Second, let me know what character you want to see me build next for player faves. Like I said, it can be literally from anywhere, and I'll make an AL legal character. Also, there will be a link in the description to download the character sheet if you want to have that for you. And otherwise, yeah, that's all for me today, and I'll see you next time. All right? Bye-bye.